What if I told you that a major tech sell-off, a surprise peace deal in Ukraine, and a massive government bet on a single American company, what if I told you they're all connected? They might seem like totally separate stories, but they're all part of one audacious new strategy coming out of Washington. It all kind of started with this number. The Nasdaq just had its worst day since April, dropping a staggering 3.5%. Tech stocks got absolutely hammered, and you can feel it, right? Everyone's suddenly feeling a little nervous. So, the big question is, what is actually going on here? Is this just a normal market correction, the usual ups and downs? Or is it a sign of something much, much bigger at play? Well, to really understand today's market jitters, we've got to connect some dots. So in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll connect those dots and show you how peace in Europe, a really radical industrial policy in Washington, and a flood of global money are all, believe it or not, part of the exact same playbook. All right, let's dive in. The first piece of this puzzle is the massive and frankly stunning developments happening in the war in Ukraine. Okay, so here's the deal. The Trump administration has apparently brokered a new security agreement that just flips the whole script. First, Ukraine will not join NATO. That's huge. It takes a major Russian demand right off the table. In return, Europe is stepping up with the ground troops and the financing. And the US, we pivot to providing air power and intelligence. It's a total shift in responsibility, and the word on the street is a peace agreement could be just weeks away. And this isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's having an immediate, massive impact on the global economy. I mean, think back just a couple months ago. Remember when everyone was terrified of a wider war and Brent crude oil prices just shot up, even touching $80 a barrel for a moment? Well, check this out. With the prospect of peace, that whole war premium, it's just vanished. Oil has absolutely plummeted down to $65 a barrel. Now, this isn't just some number on a screen. This is a huge deflationary shockwave hitting the entire global system. And you know who pays attention to that? Yep, the Federal Reserve. So you've got oil prices crashing, you've got the US housing market looking a little shaky, and Trump sees his opening. He's publicly cranking up the pressure on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. He's literally tweeting, "You're too late," and demanding interest rate cuts. What he's doing, really, is using this geopolitical peace dividend as leverage to push the Fed for cheaper money right here at home. And you've got to understand that push for cheaper money is absolutely critical for the next piece of this puzzle. Because while all of us were glued to the news about Ukraine, Washington was quietly making an even bigger move. We're talking about a totally unprecedented intervention that is right at the core of this whole new playbook. So what are we talking about? This is a fundamental, ground-up shift in policy. The old way, think of something like the CHIPS Act, was basically to hand out subsidies. Here's some cash, but there are strings attached. The new way, it's completely different. The government isn't just giving Intel money, it's planning to buy a 10% stake in the company. They're moving from just being a benefactor to being an owner. They want a seat at the table. And just to put that into perspective for you, a 10% stake would make the United States government the single largest shareholder in Intel. That means they'd own more of it than institutional giants like Vanguard and Bailey Gifford. That's a really big deal. And the market's reaction? It's been absolutely explosive. Just on these rumors alone, Intel stock is up 28% this month. This has sent its price-to-earnings ratio, which is how we measure if a stock is cheap or expensive, from a pretty reasonable 20 all the way up to 53. We haven't seen that kind of valuation since the dot-com bubble. It's wild. But of course, not everyone's buying it. The skeptics are looking at Intel's last decade of, let's be honest, strategic missteps. They've fallen way behind competitors like TSMC. So the big question they're asking is, can a government bailout really fix a company's deep-seated fundamental problems? Or is this just throwing good money after bad? Basically, rewarding a company for its past failures. And this brings us to the most crucial point of all. This whole Intel deal, it isn't some random one-off thing. It looks like it's a key piece of a much, much larger three-step national strategy. So let's put all these pieces together. What does this new playbook actually look like? Well, it seems to be 3 steps. Step 1, secure peace abroad to bring down global risk and volatility. Step 2, onshore critical industries. Bring those supply chains home, just like we're seeing with semiconductors and Intel. And finally, step 3, make the U.S. the undisputed #1 safe haven for global investment. So, is it working? Well, just take a look at these numbers. This is incredible. We're not talking about billions here. We are talking about trillions of dollars in promised investments and purchases, all flowing into the United States. And this is coming from everywhere. Sovereign wealth funds, giant tech companies, you name it. It's like a fire hose of capital being aimed directly at the American economy.
Okay, wow. So we've covered geopolitics, a massive government bet on industry. It's a lot. But what does all this new playbook, what does it actually mean for you, whether you're just watching this unfold or you're an investor?
The source material for this whole explainer had a pretty brilliant, if unusual, analogy to sum it up. It's actually a dating analogy. The thinking goes like this. Why give one guy 20 chances when you could give 20 guys one chance each? It's all about diversifying your bets, right? Spreading them out.
And that same logic translates directly into investment strategy. So instead of betting the farm on just Intel making a comeback, the idea is to own the entire semiconductor sector. The goal isn't to try and be a hero and pick the one winner. The goal is to ride the huge wave of this entire national strategy. You're not betting on one company. You're betting on the whole American industrial cycle itself.
So there you have it. That's the New American Playbook. It's bold, it's top-down, and it's all about securing peace, controlling key industries, and pulling in global capital. But it leaves us with one massive question, doesn't it? Are we watching the dawn of a new golden era for American industry, or is this the world's riskiest gamble, tying the fate of taxpayers to the fortunes of one single struggling company? I guess only time will tell.